Skinamarink is the recent experimental film bringing analog horror off of the internet and on to the big screen. And while I could be one of the no doubt various people online explaining that film, I thought it would be more interesting to shine a light on the creator's work before Skinamarink. Kyle Ball has become a bit of a dark horse as of late. For many, they just heard about his first film through word of mouth, but few have followed this man's work since the beginning. His first venture onto the internet, Bitesized Nightmares. The premise is simple. Kyle made a recreation of a nightmare when he was 8. He then asked people online to submit nightmares that they've had, and Kyle picked the ones he liked and recreated those into short videos. He's been doing this since 2017 and did a few as recent as 2021. The results of which are a kind of horror that is unique in its depiction and also its effect. And I would like to talk about it for a bit. Now, we're not going to go through every video, just a few of my favorites, since I do want you to check out Kyle's channel yourselves after all, which by the way, will be linked in the description below. Anywho, without further ado, let's take a look at some nightmares. This one comes right out of the gate with an immediate feeling that something is very wrong. We're driving down the road with the sky painted an acid shade of green, all while completely alien sounds accompany you. We continue driving, past intersections, past other cars, until we reach a long stretch of road. Any and all signs of people have quickly vanished, and a lone, shadowy figure is seen up ahead as we're slowly brought to a stop. We poke our head out to get a better look at the individual, and we get just enough time staring at the guy before he lunges. I love this one. The otherworldly nature of the setting, despite the mundanity of driving a car being the main focus, the build-up as we're taking down various roads with the looming thought in the back of our minds that something is about to happen, and of course, the payoff when that something inevitably does. It's just a really well-made video, and it's only the 4th video he's done too. Very, very impressive. This one explains that we decided to go for a night out. And even the act of going to the door, Kyle manages to make nerve-wracking. Once we reach the door, we learn that there's an unwanted visitor at our window. After that, the lights go out, and we hear the sound of it scratching. This one hits me because, as someone diagnosed with general anxiety, I am a nervous wreck. Every single time I walk by the windows in this house, I look out of them, even in broad daylight. Every single time. Do I actually expect to see someone just standing there? Menacingly? I don't know. Do I know what I would do if I did just happen to see someone staking out this house? No, I can't call the police. They'd probably shoot me first. So the idea of walking by a window, seeing someone or something with glowing red eyes, and the moment I do, all the lights go out and the thing starts clawing at the windows trying to get in, yeah, that wouldn't be a good time. Not at all. Our baby nephew was sleeping in a crib in front of us, when suddenly... we close our eyes and pretend to be asleep, while the witch inspects the crib. Then, her attention is brought towards us. Maybe she knows we're awake, maybe it wouldn't matter either way, but she steps closer and then, there's a few different shots of the bedroom as our vision distorts, and it ends with the witch looking down at us. This one is interesting as it seems that the person who submitted this nightmare encountered what is known as the night hag, a form of sleep paralysis that involves a wrinkled and withered old woman with long hair and a miserable expression. People who have dreams regarding this old woman would explain that she creeps in, crawling from the foot of your bed to perch on your chest, making it impossible to move or even breathe. I've only had one sleep paralysis dream, and while it wasn't exactly this, it's tangentially related enough that I feel like sharing. I'm walking through my neighborhood at night trying to get back home. I go to cross the street, and I see a silhouette in the distance cross when I cross. I walk a bit, then cross back, and again, they cross at the same time. Now, the silhouette wasn't a witch or anything. It was more like in the Night Drive video from earlier, just a dude in a hoodie where you couldn't see their face even when they were right in the light. Either way, they end up walking under a tree, and it's pitch black underneath. I walk under the tree too, and then I'm frozen in place. I try to move my arms, but it's like they're pinned to me. I can only move my head a little, but that's about it. Then, I feel something on my cheek, and I start freaking out. I violently shook my head, which quickly woke me up, and it turns out, the thing I felt was me drooling on my pillow, and the reason I couldn't move was because I fell asleep on my arms and they went numb. Again, tangentially related, but I wanted to tell that story and wouldn't have any other opportunity to do so. We're sat in a chair in a house we don't recognize.
Considering only oneself is not the way to true contentment. We should think carefully in seeking our own right to happiness, lest we endanger the happiness of others.
There's people talking and we can't understand a word that they're saying. They soon realize we're there and grab onto us. And then, the dream ends. The full effect of these videos probably isn't getting conveyed perfectly with me effectively giving you the highlights of each video, but this one really showcases Kyle's way of instilling dread into the most simplest of concepts, which in turn shows how he would eventually make Skinamarink to be something so simple but so uneasy. Obviously, my video is no replacement for the real thing, but I hope I'm at least doing a good enough job conveying these feelings to really pique your interest for the rest of their work. Alright, let's keep going. We're sitting in the living room with our family, and it's dead silent. Our mom says to not make a sound because they can hear someone in our room. The tension builds as we sit in silence before we get up and make our own way down the hall to our room. There we see us standing there, facing the wall, and it's eventually explained that soon their head whips back, they make a dash, and before they can touch us, the dream ends. I once had a dream where I was stuck in a tall office building. Nobody else was there, it was brightly lit, and something that occurs in a lot of my dreams would happen where if I opened a door, I would find myself on a whole different floor. Eventually, I found myself walking down a lounge area, and behind me, I hear an elevator ding. I turn and see myself, wielding a chainsaw, walking out of one of the elevators staring at me, before starting up the chainsaw and rushing towards me. I run for quite a while, going from door to staircase to door to work office to door, and another lounge area. I saw another door at the end of a long hallway, but this door was unique. It was the only one that had a window at the top, and I could see that it opened outside, despite the fact we were on the 80th floor at that point. I took my chances and opened that door, holding onto the knob as it swung open. But much like it was a Looney Tunes skit, when I opened the door, I found myself standing on thin air while my doppelganger tried to follow but immediately plummeted and crashed onto the sidewalk. For some reason, this video reminded me of that dream, but more importantly, I looked up if, much like the night hag, that doppelgangers were a common sleep phenomena, and much to my surprise, they are. Doppelgangers in your sleep are said to represent a mirror reflection of yourself, revealing aspects of how you are that remain unconscious. Depending on your interaction with the doppelganger, it can have an effect on the good or bad aspects of you. So destroying an evil doppelganger is actually metaphoric for getting rid of those bad aspects that may have been unknown to you, like greed, prejudices, rage, or hatred. That was fascinating to learn about, and again, I just felt like sharing that. And it almost makes me want to do a video on weird sleep phenomena. I don't know if a video on that would be interesting, but I'm honestly considering it. That'll have to be later, though. Let's continue looking at a few more nightmares. We wake up to see a flicker showing from under the door. We peek under the door and see that the TV is on. Our dad, awakened by the noise, walks into the room and shuts the TV off. We're about to go back to bed when the TV turns back on. Curious, we peek through the keyhole and see... starts to creep closer, slowly but surely. We turn to go hide back in our bed, but it's in the corner of our room. Not much else to say. This one's just another really well done video. We awake in our childhood home, but we can't find our parents anywhere. Alone in the house, we look around and eventually see movement under our bedroom door. The door opens, and we see a little girl about our age. She grabs us, dragging us into our room. The door shuts, and our perspective shifts to outside the door, where we hear the girl laughing, our fate completely unknown. As always, the atmosphere in these videos is on point, and it really goes to show how much Kyle's directing and understanding of horror has improved so much over the years. The weird, unidentifiable sounds that leave you listening more intently to try and make something out, the familiar enough everyday settings with surreal twists, caked in shadow letting your eyes play tricks on you as you're taken along for the ride, shadowy figures that impose a feeling of dread when you see them, time slowing down to a crawl as the anticipation of the inevitable takes place before you, and in a lot of instances, that sudden lunge or jolt to wake us up. But in other incidents, we're left with that tension, so thick that it's suffocating, and as we wait for that release, it doesn't come. I really like these videos, and I love the fact that Kyle managed to find an untapped market of horror and make it his own. But before we end things off, there's one last video I want to go over, one that's different from the rest. You see, Kyle decided to put what he learned with Bite-Sized Nightmares to the test and made a short film. One that truly sowed the seeds for Skinamarink, a short film known as Heck. A child awakens in the middle of the night, and their mother is nowhere to be found. He checks the living room, the basement, bathroom, closets, and to top it all off, none of the lights work. All they have is a flashlight and the light from their TVs. Confused, the kid puts on his shoes and tries to go to a friend's house. But all of the doors that lead outside are locked, and the windows are gone. They soon go to sleep, and the transition screen of one sleep later really sells how young this child is and how frightening it is to be stuck in this situation. But there's still 20 minutes left in this film, so buckle up. We watch as the kid grabs some cereal to eat, puts away their toys, and makes up their bed, thinking that will get their mother to come out of hiding. When cleaning doesn't work, they make a mess, and the amount of sleeps steadily increases. But still, their mother is nowhere to be seen, and the child is slowly growing desperate, telling the mom that they hate them, thinking that that'll get her to show. Eventually, the kid feels that maybe their mother is avoiding them because of something they did, which leads to a bit of a bombshell. Yeah, and if that wasn't enough, after 65 sleeps, the child seems to hear something upstairs and goes to investigate. And, well, their mother is here, but their mouth is gone. We jump to 314 sleeps, with the sounds of someone banging on the walls. 461 sleeps. The child is practically trying to enter the TV, their face is so close. 872 sleeps. 3,681 sleeps. 18,694 sleeps. 18,694 days is 51 years, 2 months, and 7 days. And this kid has been stuck the same age, in the same house, with 0 chances of escape. And it is with all this time that has passed that the child re-enters their mother's room and merely says this. And that's the end of Heck. Everything I said Kyle has done well in his previous videos has been done well here. The atmosphere, the tension, the otherworldly, surreal nature of the visuals and sounds, and the immense dread that washes over you, not just from the anticipation of a potential scare, but the realization of what is happening and how there is nothing that can stop it. For those of you that have seen Skinamarink, I bet you can very much see how Heck was like the beta of Skinamarink. Similar premise taken to an entirely different direction, but still keeping everything that made Heck and Kyle's YouTube videos work so well. And I just love to see success stories like this. I have mentioned in my Evertell video that if one truly wants to see change in the world, you should make that change with your own hands. This is another instance of what I mean. Kyle spent years making a branch of horror that was never truly utilized the way it should be. And now he has a successful film that garnered over $2 million at the box office. And he only had a budget of $15,000. That's like the price of one medical bill in the United States. If you have something that you want to see, then you should take the initiative and make it. It doesn't matter if you lack professional equipment. It doesn't matter if you've only got your college roommates as actors. It doesn't matter if you make something for the first time and it sucks. Just keep at it. Learn with each project, and before you know it, you will be the next person a bunch of weirdos on the internet flock towards to try and raise you up and get your name out there. You might not be a millionaire overnight, but hard work always finds success in due time. And heck, as I was scripting this, Kane Pixel's The Backrooms is getting adapted into a film. So it seems like now people are really taking notice of the kinds of horror the internet is making. Will this lead to more talented people getting noticed and better movies out there on the big screen? That's kind of the dream, isn't it? But we both know that dream won't get here sooner if you second guess yourself. So, come on. If you got an idea that you've wanted to do, and there's something missing that you want to see done more, give it a shot. It could work out better than you'd think. And I, for one, would love to see what creative minds are cooking the next batch of nightmares for the internet to consume. But either way, that'll do it for this video. Thank you all so much for watching. Be safe out there. I'll see you guys next time, and take care. Special thanks goes to B17 Balder, Dr. Nira, and Chimera for being my $5 patrons on Patreon. Thanks also goes to my other patrons, and of course you guys watching at home, for supporting me any way you can. Thank you all again for watching the video. I hope all of you have a wonderful rest of your day.